It celebrates a history that is unique to the state and a culture that remains strong and proud. For 100 years, a trail has been traveled, carved to connect the remote world, later blazed by gold seekers and risk takers. And after 1973, this trail would never be the same. For 40 years, Alaska's greatest sporting event has evolved and continued to accomplish its purpose and keep tradition alive. It's seen the likes of Reddington, Swenson, Butcher, Boozer, King, and Mackey, names that are now woven into every turn and linked by every mile. For these 66 teams, a search for timelessness, a race whose history is now 4 decades old. The winner is never forgotten. The challengers will drift off in time. John Baker and Inupiaq brought the trophy and the pride home in 2011. He will look to become just the 8th multiple winner, but he'll have to beat those mentioned and a crop of young guns looking for their spot in history. For 40 years, March has begun with the Iditarod sled dog race, and today begins another run at immortality. Welcome to the 40th Iditarod.
All right, and coming up to the line now, of course, last year's champion.
Oh, here's a guy we don't know anything about, John Baker.
And look at these dogs.
Beautiful.
These dogs are coming up on leashes, absolutely calm, under control. They
set a record last year, 8 days, 18 hours. So everybody knows he's the guy to beat this year. He says he feels good. He's got a lot of the same dogs in. He's got 65, 70 pounders in here, which he likes. He likes power. And I tell you what, you'd better be ready, because I think he could easily win this, be second-time champion this year.
Oh, yeah, and, these are good-sized dogs. That's got to be some power there, that's for sure. And John and his family is just a gentleman, too. Andy's on the sled, Andy Baker, who's president of the Iditarod Trail Committee now, so... And John just looks amazingly calm, doesn't he? Oh, just like his dogs.
When I was racing,
and his dogs all look like this is just another day at the office.
Another day at the office. And John was one of these guys, you'd be at a checkpoint, you lay down to go to sleep. He'd be snoring before he hit the bed. He could just sleep through anything. He's real relaxed, real comfortable. The vice versa, the other side of it, he was hard to wake up. He always had 3, 4 people. And of course, none of us would wake him up. We leave him there.
John out of Kotzebue.
First Eskimo to win the Iditarod Trail sled dog race last year, and that was a big deal. The people in Kotzebue, his home village, are just love him to death, and just a wonderful thing to see. Here he goes. He's getting ready to go. Our current champion of the Iditarod Trail sled dog race, John Baker, is leaving the chute right now.
There he goes.
There he goes.
Trail to Nome.
He's just a beautiful sled, and look at that dog team. It is amazing.
And we'll be back with more in the 2012 Iditarod Restart.
I think the teams that are in the back of the pack are at a huge disadvantage this year.
Yeah, they may be.
Fall apart to where they just wouldn't be able to have the speed that the front has. And Jeff's in a good position.
His last win was in 2006 and a second place in 2008. Jeff King back on the Iditarod Trail where he belongs. And now to the line, our defending champion out of Kotzebue, Alaska, John Baker. It took him a long time to get there first. He had a lot of top 10, some top 5 finishes. What finally got him over the hump?
Well, I talked to John just a little while ago, and he was saying, geez, it took me 16 tries to do this thing. And I think it's gaining that depth of experience and not making mistakes over. A lot of times John made little mistakes. He was always right there as one of the top competitors, but he made little mistakes that we all watched out on the trail, and that just took him out of the contention to win. And last year he kind of just put it all together in a nice, neat package. And he told me just minutes ago before he came to the starting line, he goes, well, they may come up and compete with me, but they got to go through John Baker world if they want to get to the front line first, because when this guy gets going out there on the coast, he is not going to stop. He is rock solid. He is not afraid of being tired. He's not afraid of doing without sleep and meals. And I really still say this is one of the top 2 teams to beat this year.
Well,
and incredible dogs. Incredible dogs.
Velvet and Snickers will be his lead dogs again this year. And John Baker, and of course, Western Alaska really came alive. You saw the chest swell last year as he got the Keltag in the lead, and it was obvious when he got off the river that John was the team to beat, and you could just feel the pride swelling as he got to the coast.
And that's why this race was started 40 years ago, was to keep that interest in the importance of the sled dog in rural Alaska. That really is the core of this event that started it. And John, it's nice that he is the current champion, because he is an example that it worked, and he brought that pride back to the villages. And I guarantee you we will continue to see sled dogs in those villages, not only because of Joe Redington, but because of John Baker now.
I agree. Let's take a timeout. Iditarod 40 continues.
Welcome to the Iditarod Daily Show. We're live from Anchorage at the Lakefront Hotel. The Iditarod has many points of symbolism, and we're going to talk about some of the great program that's going to be done on the Iditarod Trail this year. I've got with me John Baker, the Iditarod champ from Kotzebue, Alaska, and Catherine Keith, who's also running the Iditarod this year. So tell me about your program, ACT. I want to know all about it. What's going on? How have you started this thing rolling?
Well, we started the program actually right before the Alaska Federation of Natives met. We were in conjunction with the governor and the congressional delegation, an initiative to promote wellness throughout Alaska and what we could do and what the people themselves could do for wellness in Alaska. And from there we went on to consider Act on the Trail, Act on the Iditarod Trail. So we're looking forward to involving all of the communities.
So, John, we talked about this earlier. How did you get the idea? How did you decide you wanted to launch such an ambitious program?
Well, of course, growing up in Kotzebue, in a small town where everybody is close, you know there's issues, and so you know that the ideas have to come from within the communities being the areas of workplaces, the communities being the areas of small towns, neighborhoods. So you know that they have to come up with ideas, we have to come up with ideas that make all of us better, that help each other. So I just thought that we, as the Iditarod, owed to the communities to give back to the communities. And I thought, what better way than to encourage them to come up with wellness ideas.
So you came up with this notion of awareness, self-awareness. So Catherine, what's the nuts and bolts? How did you get the organization started? How did you get the governor's support?
Well, we didn't have to work too hard to get Governor Walker's support because he was really the driving force behind it. We just wanted to really help support him and be a voice to help carry this message out that as Alaskans, we really want to be empowered to really make a difference in our own lives and then in the lives of our community. And being dog mushers in the Iditarod, we do sort of have this responsibility to the communities that we go through and to the students and young people all throughout the state that they're looking to us as examples and role models. So
there's approximately 18 villages alone just along the Iditarod Trail. So what's going to happen? What's going to be going on with your organization during the race?
So Act on the Trail is doing a couple things. The first thing that's really exciting is that we've been fundraising. We want to be able to give up to $5,000 per community along the trail that's able to meet the criteria. And in order to do that, they need to form a youth leader program, a youth council, or a wellness coalition. And when they form these three groups, they're going to fill out an action plan for what they want to do to make a difference in their community, and then take some kind of action. When they do these things by April 30th, they'll be eligible to receive their incentive awards, which can go back for any kind of wellness activity that they want.
So give me some examples. So there's physical, emotional, medical awareness. So what are your ideas? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think communities are going to do?
We have lists and lists and workbooks of all these great ideas for what the communities want to do. And we've partnered with ANTHC, who has fantastic programs, whether it's for tobacco cessation or general wellness, healthy communities. What we want communities to do is to be able to go to ANTHC, talk to them, and then help implement things in the community. So it could be anything like a mentoring program, it could be a talking circle, it could be something about a walking club. It really has to do with what the community wants. Some communities are being pretty optimistic, and they really want to address having safe houses in their community, or they want to help with a homeless situation. So there's a lot of different goals that communities have that they want to work on, and we really just leave it up to the community because they know what's best for their community, and we just are providing support. So when you go to our website, which is AlaskansChangingTogether.org, you can download a personal wellness plan, because we have about 10 or 12 different aspects of wellness, and really for within ourselves and within the community, you can really address any of these things. And So once communities kind of go through this, they get their incentive award, the next thing that they can do is compete for a $35,000 prize. And this is a statewide competition, so you don't have to be along the Iditarod Trail.
Amazing. Now, I know you explained your program today at the musher meeting, and there's a lot of mushers that said, count me in. I remember Hugh Neff said, I'm in. What do I need to do? So tell us how others can get involved in this project.
Great. Yeah. For the mushers, it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have bandanas on the dogs' necks with the logos, and we're asking mushers tonight at the banquet to go take a selfie in front of a little form that we'll have them fill out with their wellness tip. Just kind of things to learn about how mushers take care of themselves, in addition to taking care of the dogs. And we're also looking for mushers to be spokesmen, to really help us get the word out there and help encourage the communities to participate in the event.
You want to add anything, John?
Well, I think there's a lot of stories that each community has of where people can highlight and where people can give their story to make everybody better. And I think there's no better story than your own to share at some point also.
Well, thank you. I had cardiac surgery and I had lymphoma cancer all in the space of about 6 months. And I can say that if it wasn't for the supportive community and my family, it would have been very difficult. So I think your program is spot on. It hits on that our own health is our responsibility, our own well-being, but we're also responsible for our neighbors and our family. So I think your program has so many great intentions. I think it's going to be a great philosophical viewpoint.
Yeah, and I think that's really what we're trying to do here is reframe some of the challenges, because so often we go through in our own lives and we see our family and friends dealing with suicide or domestic violence or substance abuse, struggling with alcoholism, and we want to help so much, and you try to help, but then at the end of the day it's the individual that's going to have to step up and say, I'm ready to do something different. But what this whole campaign is about is really having a positive, solution-oriented options.
So viewers in villages other than the ones on the Iditarod Trail, they're not going to be contacted directly by your representatives. What can they do? How do they get involved?
Yep, they should go to our website and then look at the Hero X Prize, because that is a statewide competition and it's focused on creative and innovative, collaborative ways to develop positive protective factors within your community. And there's information about what those are and for what age groups, and you can get all the information you want at that website. But sign up, because it doesn't have to be anything that's so amazing or super involved or require a lot of money. It's really just connecting the dots with people in your community and doing something and working together as a team. And that's the biggest thing we do as mushers out there on the Iditarod, is get our dogs together as a team, moving in the same direction, and eventually, with luck, we make it to Nome.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun, because in a way you're running your own think tank, and the ideas and the innovations and the insights can be quite remarkable.
Yep, and that's what we're hoping at the end of this. By April 30th, we'll have throughout the state all of these amazing solutions that people have found for their community that are making a difference. And we're writing up these success stories. So on the trail, we're going to have both videographers and journalists out there capturing some of these champions along the trail in the community. So if you know anybody in a community, we would love to hear about it. And the contact information is on the website.
So you're well organized. I see you have the logos and everything.
Yeah.
So how long, just as backup, how long have you been working on the project?
October.
Wow. And you put it together this quickly.
Yeah, and we've had a great team, and again, it kind of takes a team to make things happen, but
yeah. Well, I can say just from my own observation that it's contagious, because already you have a big number of mushers engaged with the project, and they're going to go on the trail and do as well as they can to promote the idea.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Really appreciate that you had the time to come in. I know you're busy for the race start. John, Catherine, thanks again.
Thanks.
This is The Daily Show. Check us out. We're updating constantly.